is basically risking your entire run just for a few milliseconds of time save. I've come to love speedruns, watching them at least. Something about them is really cool to me, and I think the community is really cool. It's all cool. I've been lurking and watching various speedrunners for a decent amount of time, and I decided that I wanted to do a speedrun. Now, I don't really have the time to set aside hundreds of hours to hone my skill on whatever game I want, so I decided I had to do a blind speedrun where I just play it for the first time and try my best. I spent a few days racking my brain on what game I'd like to run. I like Pokemon. Maybe I could run a Pokemon game, but that's a lot of researching and memorizing and luck. I could try a Mario game. It's a popular category, but I don't know if it's for me. Then it hit me, the perfect game. Of course, why hadn't I thought of it sooner? I ran to speedrun.com to check if anyone has run it yet. No one. None. I'm gonna be the first person in the world to speedrun Cooking Mama 2 Dinner with Friends that I know of. Why did I choose Cooking Mama? Because, dude, Cooking Mama is awesome. If you haven't played, it's a DS game where you follow steps to make food and impress Mama. The better you do, the better score you get. Plus, I'm at an advantage when it comes to preparing food. I've seen Food Wars. I know all the techniques and secrets. If you're under 18, don't look it up. Why did I choose the second game and not the original? That's the one I bought. Duh. I used to play Cooking Mama all the time as a kid with my friend Kate. I always thought Mama's English was really funny. I still love it. We even had this system where if we kept failing at a recipe, we'd have to change chairs because that one had bad luck. Obviously. I don't have that luxury this time because I have to stay by the computer, so I'll have to come up with a better strategy. Also, extra movements lose time. I need to be efficient here. Anyway, I wanted to have some sort of challenge, so I decided to add some rules to my run. 1, I have to fully complete the main game mode Cook with Mama. 2, I have to receive a gold medal on every single recipe. That means I can't make a mistake. Ever. Can't burn a single onion, can't accidentally pour the rice into the sink, can't smack my hand while pounding mochi. If I do, the whole recipe needs to be redone. 3, that's it. Do it fast, I guess. The first recipe is pizza, and I was off to a pretty good start. Obviously, it's a speedrun, so I didn't have time to read the little description on what to do each step, but for the most part, I was able to use my massive IQ and big, strong brain to decode the objectives in split seconds. Except in the last step where I didn't know how to work the oven and failed immediately. Again, off to a great start. After deciphering how the oven worked, I was moving on quickly. Peanut butter, cook the peanuts, done. Oops. Recover, adapt, overcome. Done. Seabream carpaccio. Exfoliate the fish, chopping, restart. Choose smaller knife, easy peasy. Corn soup. Ew. Boil the corn, boil, strain. Oh, come on! Not all the corn came in. Alright, admittedly, I was making a lot of mistakes at the beginning. I was nervous because it was my first speedrun, and I didn't know what I had to do most of the time, and was generally panicking. But then I remembered that no Cooking Mama 2 speedruns exist yet, so that means I'm on world record pace, and that made me feel better. One mechanic I had to learn the hard way was, when it comes to the oven, choose the low heat. The first attempt, I decided to go with the medium heat to go a little bit faster, and look at this! Oh no!
Don't let your budget run away from you. Stay in control with spending insights in the Barclays app. See?
Oh! What was that? That was a speedrun in itself. Burn the apple pie as quick as possible. You know how there's separate categories in speedruns? Mario Odyssey has the one where you take Mario's shirt off as fast as possible called nipple percent. I want one for Cooking Mama 2 called burn apple pie percent, where you just burn the apple pie as quickly as possible. Anyway, I redid the pie and was moving on. Bonk, ill rice bowl. We're about an hour in at this point. I had my friends in a Discord call so they could help me take notes so I didn't have to rewatch all the footage again for the script, and they decided to look up how many recipes there actually were in the game. I didn't know because I wanted to go in completely blind, and you know what they discovered? There are a total of 80 recipes in this game. An hour in, I was on recipe 8. Which would be impressive in real life, but not here. So either we were gonna pull a Cooking Mama all-nighter, or I had to start picking up the pace. Sorry, Shrimp. this is gonna get violent. It wasn't perfect, and I was still making some mistakes, but I started getting into the zone. It helped that I was starting to get familiar with the mechanics and actually know what the game wanted me to do for most of the steps now. Waffles, chili dog, meatloaf, lobster. I was one-shotting all of them. I even put 2 mama flags on the lobster, which was a bit risky, but you know me, I live for the danger. I almost forgot to put the lobster on. Let me pause and tell you a story of my childhood. I already mentioned my love for Cooking Mama as a kid. Even 12 years ago, I set myself the goal of getting gold in all the recipes. But one haunting memory I have of this game was my struggle against the Mama Rice Cracker. All the steps are relatively simple, but at the end you have to stamp all 18 crackers with a Mama stamp. That's what makes the Mama Rice Cracker the Mama Rice Cracker. But as a kid, my DS was old and I dropped it a few times, which messed up the calibration on my screen in a way I couldn't fix. So that meant at the very end of the recipe, it was extremely hard for me to stamp the stamp in the exact spot that Mama wanted. I spent weeks, I'm not joking, trying to get the gold on the Mama Rice Cracker. It was the last one I needed, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I'm pretty sure I was eventually able to pass, but let's just say I didn't for the sake of drama.
Wow.
Either way, I was having PTSD. I was going through all the steps, washing the rice, putting the rice in the little hole, mochi pounding the rice scoop, and then it appeared, the screen that caused the most pain a video game could to a 10-year-old. I was slowly making my way down the line. Everything was going well. Then all of a sudden, on the 10th cracker, I accidentally tapped the screen when I was lining up my pen, causing me to not brand the cracker enough. I'm not one to believe in spiritualism, or star signs, or Destiny's Child, whatever that stuff is. But that moment in particular made me question if it was all real, and my only fate is to eternally fail the last step of the Mama Rice Cracker recipe until I inevitably die an unaccomplished old man that makes ugly rice crackers.
What?
I did it right the next time, but that would have been unfortunate, right? With the Mama Rice Cracker conquered, now nothing was in my way, and I was making my way through the rest of the recipes. At the 2-hour 37-minute mark, 27 recipes in, Ari got out of his cage and was running around the room, so I had to spend precious time getting him back under control. That was a loss of 2 minutes right there. Then I missliced the raviolis, so I'm blaming all of that misfortune on Ari. I actually struggled a lot on the ravioli recipe. The pasta is really hard to cut because you have to time the slice with the line, but since I was so focused on when to cut, a lot of the time I would deviate from the actual line to cut from and mess up. Then when I was able to get past that stage, for some reason the mic had trouble hearing me blow, so even though I was doing what I was supposed to, I'd fail anyway.
My least favorite part of running a business is probably the accounting. I use Xero to keep track of what I'm spending, where my cash flow is going, to help me prepare my tax returns. It's really going to help me with making tax digital.
What is it? Go.
No, do you hear it? Overall, I had to redo the ravioli recipe 6 times, and I spent 11 minutes on it. Not great. Thanks, Ari. But after that, I was able to one-shot both the cake and the spring rolls. And can we talk about how the ice cream recipe literally just makes you scoop out store-bought ice cream and put sprinkles on it? That's been my favorite recipe so far. Skipping forward a bit, let's talk about the mango pudding. This was ravioli part 2. The first step I had trouble with was memorizing the order of the ingredients. It was a 6-part Simon Says memory game, and my big smooth brain can only handle one number at a time before the concept of object permanence leaves my body. I inevitably got a lucky pattern that was easy to remember, and after a few more steps, in the end I had to draw a line at a specific speed that would remove the pudding cleanly. Too slow and it wouldn't come out, too fast and it just... For the life of me, I couldn't get the pacing right 3 consecutive times in a row. And with the combined difficulty of that, along with the memorizing, I spent another 10 minutes trying to get it right and still failing. My confidence was shattered and I had to take a mental health break. I'll be back for you, mango pudding. I'll come back stronger, and I'll cook you so well I'll become the mama. I was in shambles from the pudding, but was able to move on and started getting back into a rhythm. All these foods, I was knocking them out one by one. I will note that I struggled with popcorn because I thought there was going to be some sort of indicator or something on when to open the lid, So I just sat there until I realized I burnt it all. Oh, wait. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll open it when I hear the popping sounds. And then I opened it with like 5 popcorns. But it's okay, I was able to figure it out. Overall, the rest of the run went on without any major problems. I was able to finish up the rest of the recipes, and at the 6-hour, 38-minute mark, I only had 2 recipes left. The bento box, and of course, the mango pudding. Time is ticking. We're in the end game now. Also, my Discord friends were ready to never talk to me again. I thought I could just get the bento box over with quickly because it's like, just put food in box, right? Well, actually, I didn't realize I had to include food from all the categories Mama gave me, or something, so I failed it like 3 times and was on the brink of insanity, trying to figure out what Mama wanted from me. The food is in a box, Mama! What's what a bento box is? Food in box! What else do you need? Blood? A blood sacrifice? It didn't say anywhere in the instructions that I should have put more variety in there. Not that I was reading the instructions anyway. I still, right now, don't know what Mama wanted, but at least I finally got the gold, after 4 minutes. That meant I only had one last recipe. 79 were completed. The mango pudding was the only thing standing between me and the first Cooking Mama 2 Dinner with Friends world record. I clicked it nervously, but I climbed my mountain. I trained with Mama, and I've come back a new chef. Peeling, slicing, blending, I was quicker than ever. There it was, the memorizing. I was doing well until... No! Restarted. I was sweaty and shaking. My brain was shutting down. My eyes had only been seeing Cooking Mama for the past 6 hours and 45 minutes. Every breath was Cooking Mama. Every neuron in my skull was Cooking Mama. Every atom in the universe at that moment was Cooking Mama. But my next attempt, oh my god, oh Jesus, is this the one? I nervously went through the rest of the recipe until I arrived at the last step. It's been about 3 hours and 15 minutes since I practiced removing the pudding from the mold, and to be honest, I don't remember the removal strats. First one, second one,